everyone, it's April here and I have almost finished this sketchbook and I'm about to start a new one. So I'm about to start the Mossery, what is it called? Mixed Media Sketchbook. It's super pretty and sexy and I really want to get started with it. So I thought some people show you the last page of the sketchbook, some people show you the first page. Why don't we put them both together and do both? So I'm going to do a last page, first page kind of dealio. So I've got the two little sketches there. I'm going to do two little ladies. Haven't done some portraits for a while, so it should be pretty fun. And today I'm going to be using the Daniel Smith watercolours because I also haven't used those for a long time. And I figured if we're going to be going into the Mossery sketchbook, it'll be really cool to see the difference between my old sketchbook, which was the Moleskine Art Plus sketchbook, which didn't handle wet media very well, into the Mossery Mixed Media Sketchbook, which I'm sure is going to handle watercolour beautifully. And I wanted to do a sketchbook spread that was kind of cohesive, so you could pop the two together and see like a whole double spread. And I had like a bunch of different ideas, like landscapes or that was pretty much my only idea. Who am I kidding? I don't have any ideas. But I ended up with wanting to do something that went from the different seasons. So going from summer, because it's summer, well, it was summer in the UK, into autumn. So my initial idea was to do a landscape, but I'm not really very good at landscapes and I don't think I'd enjoy it very much. So I decided to do two portraits of females and have one like summertime, so she has like summer flowers in her hair and at the bottom of the page, and then the other one was going to be an autumn one with autumn flowers. And this is kind of stolen from an idea that I had a while back. I'm not sure if you guys remember, I did like this portrait with daffodils in the spring. That was a few months ago now, and I actually had planned to do one of those for every season, but I just never got around to it. So I figured I would kind of steal that idea and just do it as a sketchbook page. So I'm in the Mossery sketchbook now for the first time ever. I did sketch this out before, and the first thing to notice when I jumped into this new sketchbook from my old one is the amount of texture on the pages. I kind of felt like I was sharpening my pencils as I was drawing. I don't know if you guys had the sketchbook or if you've ever had that feeling, but I kind of felt like the texture was so rough, my pencils were just like being obliterated by the page. And then obviously with the watercolour, it reacts a lot differently on this page than it does on my Moleskine. It took a little bit of getting used to because I'm so used to how smooth the pages are in the Moleskine sketchbook, and this one obviously again has a lot of texture because it's for watercolour mixed media. So it was pretty interesting to kind of work on the two images at the same time. So I did like the watercolour, I did the base in one and then the base in the other, and it was really weird to like switch between the two different pages. And for the lady, I used the same model, so I went on Pinterest. I'll see if I can pop her pictures up really quickly here. I was lucky enough to find the same lady doing two different poses, so I'm not sure if they look the same in my sketches. They look a little bit different, but I thought it was cool to use kind of the same person, same hair. And getting back into watercolour was a bit strange. I haven't done it for a while. When I first go back into watercolour after not doing it for ages, I'm like really timid. And the saturation and kind of the contrast is way down. I'm just like putting on these really thin layers of almost like coloured water instead of watercolour. But when I move over to this autumn one, you'll probably see the difference at the end. I kind of used this one a little bit more bolder colours. I think autumn also lends itself to just having a bolder colour palette because it's all like the nice rich reds and yellows and browns, and this side of the sketchbook page I definitely prefer than the summer one, which kind of looks a bit more springy. There's just a nice little palette cleanser, get it? These paintings actually, I haven't done any painting or any drawing since I did these a couple of weeks ago. I haven't been able to draw a lot this week. I've just been so tired. I've been going to work really early to avoid the traffic and then coming home, and at the end of the day I just haven't had the motivation to sit down and draw. And also I think, I don't want to bring it up because everyone's bringing it up, but Inktober's coming. I don't know if you guys know or have ever heard of Inktober before, but that's coming up next month, and I kind of almost feel like September is kind of like a chill month. This is only going to be the third year I've done it, but it's like, oh, I'm just going to chill out because I know next month's going to be crazy. That's kind of how I feel. So I haven't been too harsh on myself because I know that next month's going to be a little bit insane. And that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to jump into the Mossery sketchbook, is because I'm planning on doing my Inktober images in that sketchbook. Last year I did it on plain paper, just like cut up watercolour paper, which was fine, but this year I want to keep it all together in a little book. So I think the Mossery sketchbook is going to work very nicely for that one. So I've finished the watercolouring portion and now moving on to the pencils, which are the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. I've had these since last year in November, and I've only just started to use a bigger selection than like 3 or 4. I don't know why, I just got a little bit scared of using them because they're so expensive and they're so pretty, but you buy these art materials and you can't just hoard them, like you have to use them. So I took the plunge and I just chose maybe like 30 or 40 of the colours that I thought would go nicely, and I popped them in my little pencil jar on my desk. So I'm using these all the time now instead of just like a random selection that I had before. And as usual, I think the coloured pencils really bring it together. One of these days I have to sit down and figure out how to paint something without pencil. Or maybe not, I don't know. I mean, if I like drawing with pencil, can't I just draw with pencil and not worry about having to be like an amazing painter? I mean, sometimes I think feel a little bit pressured to be good at everything, but you can't be good at everything, right? I've only just like started using coloured pencils the last year, so maybe I shouldn't be too harsh on myself. And that is the Summer Lady finished. I still think she looks a little bit more spring, and then at the bottom there I kind of bring in some autumn flowers, and I do the same with the autumn one. I bring in some summer flowers. So on their own they're kind of like nice little portraits. Together they're kind of cool. It didn't really go together how I had envisioned it, because originally I thought it was going to be like, it was almost like half of a painting. Like you looked at one of the sketchbooks and you're like, oh, where's the other half? But I still kind of like how it turned out. So the texture here was a little bit rougher, and I think I preferred the texture of the Art Plus sketchbook. I don't know if that's just because I'm used to it now, but this one here, like I said before, was a little bit rough on the pencils, but at the end it looks quite nice. And I definitely liked how this one turned out. I found a bunch of like different flowers on Pinterest, and I just kind of popped them in some arbitrary locations. I'm not like a florist, so I wasn't really sure how to put the flowers together. And I found these yellow daisies that I'm doing there. They're kind of black in the middle, and then the petals are bright orange. They look really cool. But yeah, I definitely like the autumn one better than the summer one. What do you guys like better? So I'm just finishing off with some colour pencils on the cheeks, and yeah, that's it. So pop them together in a second. Pop them together. Yep. And we're popping. There they are, together. And now I was thinking, oh, there's got to be a way that we can kind of link these two together. So I kind of threw caution to the wind. I was a bit worried about this one, but I just kind of drew some crazy lines. They're not really crazy, they're just lines across the different pages, and tried to kind of create a connecting piece, I guess. And then if you really look in, you'll see that the lines change colour. So I have them change from like a really bright yellow on one side to this darker red on the other. So that is both of the sketches together. I think it looks pretty cool. It's a pretty fun project, and I'm looking forward to getting into my Mossery sketchbook and trying out all the inks and the watercolours over the next few months. And that's all for today's video. I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.